For a century, global trade relied on one specific assumption, that massive container ships could continuously navigate a handful of narrow oceanic bottlenecks. When those bottlenecks fail, the math breaks down. In March 2021, a single grounded container ship in the Suez Canal erased an estimated $9.6 billion per day from the global economy. 12 to 15% of global trade halted over a single lane of traffic. Since late 2023, the Red Sea has devolved from a commercial transit route into a target zone. With Houthi forces routinely launching drone and missile attacks against commercial vessels, major shipping lines are routing all the way around Africa, adding up to 2 weeks and massive fuel costs to every single voyage. The traditional overland alternative offers no relief. Following Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, Western sanctions systematically dismantled the financial and legal infrastructure of the Northern Corridor. For Western logistics companies, routing cargo through Russian territory now carries massive legal liability. Meanwhile, Beijing faces its own geographic anxiety. Over 80% of China's oil imports transit the Strait of Malacca. If a conflict with the United States ever breaks out, the U.S. Navy could easily blockade that single strait and starve the Chinese economy of energy. The old arteries are failing. Oceans are vulnerable to sub-state actors. The North is locked by sanctions. Keeping the global economy running requires engineering an 11,000-kilometer shortcut. This map shows the solution currently under construction. With old routes through Russia and the Red Sea compromised, a multimodal network called the Middle Corridor is drawing a clean line straight from eastern China, across Central Asia and the Caspian Sea, directly into European markets. A standard maritime journey from Asia to Europe currently takes about 45 days. By linking trains, dry ports, and sea ferries, this new route cuts that transit time down to an aggressive 15-day sprint. This physical compression of the map turns distance into a manageable cost rather than a fixed geographic barrier. Making a 15-day continental sprint work requires intense physical engineering. The first major hurdle hits right at the China-Kazakhstan border. China uses standard gauge rail lines, while Central Asia still runs on Soviet-era broad gauge tracks. Trains literally cannot roll from one country into the next. The fix is a sprawling special economic zone called the Horgos Gateway. Here, massive freight railway sidings are designed to physically lift and transfer thousands of containers between the two different rail networks every single day. After clearing the steps, cargo hits the Caspian Sea. Moving trains across a body of water without routing them north through Russian territory requires building an entirely new maritime logistical chain. To bridge the water, Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan are heavily expanding their port facilities and ferry fleets. Terminals like Alat and Kurik are being outfitted to roll entire trains onto waiting vessels, cross the Caspian, and offload them on the other side. By pouring capital into these transshipment nodes, these nations are actively shrinking the logistical size of Eurasia. They are permanently bypassing Moscow and capturing the transit revenues that Russia held for decades. Once across the Caspian, the cargo still has to thread a geographic needle through the mountainous South Caucasus to finally reach Europe. That link was forged in 2017 with the Baku-Tbilisi-Kars Railway. This line physically connects Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Turkey, securing the only direct rail link between Central Asia and Turkish infrastructure that avoids Russia completely. This routing is exactly what the government in Ankara wants. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has openly stated his goal to turn Turkey into the energy terminal of the world, the absolute gatekeeper for commodities entering the European Union. Europe is desperate for non-Russian energy, and Turkey holds the valve. Through infrastructure like the Trans-Anatolian Pipeline, Turkey dictates the terms for Azerbaijani gas flowing into the EU, granting Ankara structural leverage over European energy security. The exact same leverage applies to physical trade. Istanbul's Marmara Rail Tunnel allows Asian cargo to pass directly underneath the Bosphorus Strait and feed seamlessly into the European rail network. The geography is unforgiving. Every cubic meter of gas and every shipping container flowing through this route must pass through Anatolia. Whoever sets the transit tariffs here controls the economic security of the continent. For centuries, being landlocked in Central Asia guaranteed economic isolation. Now, states like Kazakhstan are using digital trade systems and new rail networks to rebrand their geography as a land-linked hub. This corridor provides the primary exit for the raw materials required for the EU's green energy transition, linking European factories directly to the mineral deposits of the steppes. Kazakhstan produces roughly 45. This is the proposed Zangezur corridor. Azerbaijan demands full extraterritorial transit rights, while Armenia insists on complete sovereign customs control. The risk of war over this transit link is high. Baku proved its willingness to use military force in its 2020 and 2023 campaigns, and traditional peacekeepers in the region have lost their influence. The middle corridor reveals the blunt reality of modern trade. To move goods faster, nations are redrawing borders, isolating old superpowers, and preparing for conflict over narrow mountain passes. Distance hasn't been defeated. It has been weaponized by a new set of gatekeepers who will fight to control the map.